You are listening to Hello Cupcake, It's Me, a podcast with your host, Michael Peterson.
Hey y'all, Michael here with Hello Cupcake, It's Me, a podcast. Today is July 7th, 2022. This is episode 32, and how are you? So, man, it has been just a whole bunch of up and downs. Starting off with this Tuesday's trivia night, we kicked all of the booty. So we now have 4 wins, 1 loss, and next week we go up against another bar that is so far undefeated. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that we're going to be able to maintain our stronghold on this, because if we win that against that bar, then we go into a quote unquote sudden death match. And then if we qualify in that, then we go up to the next tier. I thought it was based on how well we did each week that we would move up a different tier until we got all the way into the platinum tier, but that's not how it works. So they added on a whole shitload of new bars and lounges or whatever. So I don't think that we should have to deal with them until the beginning of the new season or whatever. But not my circus, not my monkeys. I just pay to go to the attraction. And also on Tuesday night, damn near got into a bar fight. I had a lot of shit on my mind this week, and just a lot of stuff kind of falling out of place, and got really, really freaking triggered by this drunk dude talking out of the corner, out of the side of his ass or whatever. And I was talking to a friend about a mutual person that we knew, and confirming some things that they had been told or whatever. And we started talking about child abuse and childhood trauma, and how that plays into mental health later on in life and what have you. And this guy decided that he was going to intervene into our conversation and said, well, people just need to shut the fuck up and get over it. We all have our issues and our demons and blah, blah, blah. And what was done in the past can't be fixed in the future, or some shit like that. And guys, when I tell you, this rumbling volcano of anger and rage and just whatever spewed from the dark depths of my soul, I literally almost wanted to put hands on this guy. And then he used his quote unquote supposed trauma to justify how he felt. Okay, even if that trauma had happened to you, the only time I ever see you is at a bar, balls deep in a bottle. So please tell me how well of a rounded person you are. Just because this is how you decided to handle your shit doesn't mean that that's how we need to handle mental health. And that right there is why people do not talk about mental health, is because of bullshit assholes like that who perpetrate the stigma of mental health and well, if I could get through it, you could get through it. Not everyone is cut from the same cloth, and it's not something that people just need to shut the fuck up and get over it and move on. People move on from traumas when they are able to move on from traumas. And you can't just tell somebody who is suffering with depression or other mental health, well, have you tried not being sad? Have you tried not doing this or that? Like, that's not how mental health works. That's like going up to a paraplegic who's paralyzed from the neck down and saying, well, have you tried not being paralyzed? Have you tried not having cancer? Have you tried not being a douchebag? Like, only one of those instances can actually be controlled. So I ended up getting really heated, really flustered, and pissed off to the point where my blood was fucking boiling, and I felt myself starting to slip into that, like, Hulk smash mode, or as my friends call it, Michael smash mode. And when I get really pissed off and angry, I start to black out. And so I try to keep myself even keeled and even toned 99% of the time, because when I was younger, I used to black out and seriously injure people. And the last time that I had an almost blackout situation was probably 2002, 2001, 2002, somewhere right in that time period. Um, it was actually, I think it was even closer to 2003. But anyways, regardless, it was after my house had burnt down. Um, and then prior to that, I was in the 5th or 6th grade, and I completely blacked out on a kid. And when I came to, I had him by the neck, 2 feet off the ground. He was passed out, and the schoolyards were beating the hell out of me, trying to get me to release him. And when I dropped him, he just fell to the floor. And I remember crying, freaking out, and I took off running and I went home. And they started putting me into therapy at that point. And this is before Columbine and all that other stuff. So schoolyard fights were commonplace, and it was like, oh, okay, slap on the wrists and 2 days detention or what have you. So I try not to lose my temper that often, and when I do, it scares me because I start getting very euphoric and relaxed, and I open this doorway where I recede into that comfort, and I have no idea what is happening. Like, so yeah, I just tried not to do anything like that. So I ended up just like walking away, and I was pissed off all the rest of that night. And the next morning, when I got up, I did the YouTube video and completely went off on the YouTube video. But I'm doing a lot better today. I'm a lot more calm and even toned about it, but yeah, I'm still really upset about it. Um, just for the fact that, like, don't jump into somebody else's conversation. Like, shut the fuck up. Take your own advice. Shut it down. Moving on from that, I hope everyone had a really good 4th of July. My 4th was very uneventful. My cat was like such a trooper until like one of the bomb mortars that the neighbors shot off landed almost in our backyard and exploded and shot up a whole bunch of lights. Then he was a little weirded out, but afterwards, he was fine. And I absolutely hate people who move into the area or just move into any area and don't understand what the culture is like, and then get pissed off and want to change the culture to fit their needs and everything that they like about where they just left, if that makes any sense at all. But I went into this in great detail in the YouTube video, and if you want to go check that out, head on over to youtube.com/hello cupcake it's me, and you can go check out that Wednesday check-in video. So this morning I woke up and had to choose violence, and I chose the form of Karen's supervising manager, Linda LeCunt, and I had to call Amazon and get in Amazon's ass because I had made a purchase and then I canceled said purchase, and I called in to make sure that that purchase was canceled. And the operator that I spoke to said, yes, I can guarantee you 100% your purchase has been canceled and your payment method will not be charged. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. High marks, high fives all across the board. So expecting that money not to have come out of my account, and then waking up this morning, checking my balances and whatever, and seeing that that money had come out of my account, I called Amazon and I was like, what the actual fuck? And at first I was like, customer service voice, you're going to get more with honey than vinegar, that whole bullshit rigmarole. And was like, listen, I'm going to be charged a $30 overdraft fee because you guys lied to me and that the payment hadn't processed and that that money was not going to be taken out of my account. So not only am I now not getting the product that I had originally wanted but had canceled, I am now being charged for said product plus $30 because of an overdraft fee that you promised me and said that you guaranteed wasn't coming out of my account. So, like, legitimately, what the actual fuck? And they're like, well, there's nothing that I can do on this end. And I'm like, at the very least, you can send me the item as a courtesy. Well, you've canceled it, so I can't send it to you. I'm like, the hell you can't? Like, there's something a billion-dollar company can do. Like, seriously, figure this shit out. I was like, I don't care if you've got to put me on to your supervisor, the CEO, the guy who like bought goldfish for the carnival that your children attended, like whoever I got to talk to get this rectified so that not only am I not being charged for the original price of the item, that I'm also not being charged for an overdraft fee and getting shafted in the whole process. So very pissed off, very angry, very, very disappointed and upset with Amazon right now. And I hope and pray that they send me a progress report, like one of those like follow-up customer survey things, like how was your recent interaction with Amazon? Because I'm gonna tear it the fuck up. Like, there's absolutely no reason that you should promise me or tell me or guarantee me that something's not going to take place and it already takes place, especially when the app and the website both said that the payment and the shipment had not processed. If the shipment had already processed, I could understand that, but it did not process. So, yeah, I had to be very Karen today, and I'm already like, just please God, don't let this be the precedence for the whole rest of this day, because I'm not fixing to have to deal with all that. So also yesterday I had to go to an impromptu doctor's appointment. I've been having this really strange pain in my right carotid artery, the one that goes from like your shoulder up into your skull and feeds into your brain. And it's been really kind of bothersome because when this pain starts, it causes a pain in my right temple, which then causes a pain in the center of my skull, in my brain, or whatever. And I have a history of blood clots in my family and vascular issues with my grandmother. She had really bad varicose veins, and my biological mother has uh, blocked aortic valves and all this other stuff. So, um, you know, God only knows what kind of bullshit genetics I inherited from her. Um, so, anyways, they went and they said that I had to go do a blood test, and the doctor talked to me and said, it could be any number of different things. It could be um, arterial, what did he call it, arteritis or something like that, like basically an inflammation of the arteries, or it could be this, that, or the other thing. He said the most extensive thing that they would probably have to do is a biopsy. Sorry, ever since I watched my big fat Greek wedding, the first video, um I always call biopsies babopsies now. But so that they would have to do a biopsy uh, of like the arteries and stuff, which means like having to cut into the skull fragment and all that other stuff. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like fun. So let's hope that it's something simple. Um, but when I took a look at Google, it said like all the different like uh causalities, and one of them was like infection. Well, I had that really bad infection in my ear when I had COVID, and they didn't do shit about it. That was affecting my neck at the time, also. So it could be residual from COVID or from that infection, or it could be infection from my molars on the right side, because I think the molars on my bottom jaw are infected, and I know that one of them is broken off, and I had that repaired, but been having a little bit of tenderness when I bite down and chew on that side. So um, I have no idea. So the doctor just said to continue taking ibuprofen for pain or what have you. Still hasn't provided me with any kind of antibiotics or anything like that. So I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed and hope that it's nothing too serious. A few years ago, uh, I had to go to the hospital for these really weird cluster migraine headaches that I was getting, and they had to like shoot Dilaudid into the back of my skull and had me on all kinds of super strong tranquilizers and whatever else. And um, anything too strenuous or anything that like activated certain areas of my brain would cause these crippling headaches to the point where like all I wanted to do was kill myself. I never felt that type of severe traumatic pain like that. And if that was anything like what a cluster migraine is like, I feel sorry for people who like suffer with that shit. But I'm going to be I'm going to be treating it like it's an infection and dealing with it from that aspect. Um, so yeah, keeping my fingers crossed it's nothing more nefarious than that. Uh, Also, I am completely caught up on Stranger Things. Stranger Things has been out for a while now, so if you haven't listened to it, you may, or if you haven't watched it, you may want to skip this part because there's going to be a ton of spoilers. But one, fuck them for killing off Eddie, and two, uh, during the ending scene when the kids were overlooking Harper or Hawkins, not Hopper, when they were looking over Hawkins and seeing like it all getting destroyed, and 11 walks up and looks off into the distance, kind of ominously and kind of pissed off. My first thought was, I'm gonna need a transfusion, because you know how her nose bleeds every time that she has to use her powers or whatever. And Vecna is a creature of her own creation, but I would love, love, love to see them do like a Stranger Things prequel or something where they explore the Demogorgon universe, because we got to see a small clip of it when we were seeing Vecna's origin story take place, and I just want to know more about it. Like, why did the Demogorgons live in that dimension? What did they do? Did they have like a hive mind? Were they just these feral demonic creatures overlooked by the swarm? Like, what goes on there? Um, and I also have a fan theory about Will, that Will is either going to have powers or that he's going to be abducted by Vecna and used as kind of like a bait, or used in some kind of way to kind of determine how things go. And I honestly want to say that I believe that he's going to uh, maybe even be killed, but we'll see what happens with that. Um, the other show that I've been watching, and I highly, highly, highly recommend this show if you haven't watched it already. It's The Orville, and it's on Hulu. And it's Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy and American Dad, and what's that other show? Um, Family Guy and American Dad. But anyways, really good show. It's sci-fi, kind of like Star Trek, but they deal with some amazing issues. Everything from LGBT issues to like just general hot topic button issues. Um, there was one episode where this race of beings all are homosexual, and if you are born a female at birth, you're automatically changed to a male. And how this had brought up a huge issue for this alien species that inhabit a world and are crew members on the Orville spaceship. And last week or the week before that, it dealt with abortion rights and like terminating of pregnancies. And this one alien race, if you were found to have terminated your child, you were put into a like re-education camp where they scanned both parents' DNA and created a lifelike computer hologram of what the child could have looked like. And the parents had to endure the child and like basically interact with this child, asking, why didn't you want to keep me, why didn't you love me, and so on and so forth, which brings up a lot of weird and sensitive and um spiritual, whatever you want to call it, emotions and topics. And it was really kind of unique and interesting on how it was all portrayed and put together, and it was done so in a very tactful, tasteful way. And the show really is amazing and groundbreaking, and I highly, 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 highly recommend it. Another show that I'm watching is called Motherland Fort Salem, and it is an alternative timeline to the America's histories, and it's that the military is comprised of witches, or that we have a witch military and a regular. I think we have like a witch military and a regular military, but anyways, it was like how witches throughout history have shaped the nation and the world and everything in between. And instead of using spells, they use what's called seeds, and it's a song that they sing, and very primitive, very guttural sounds or pitches that they make, like um, humming or whatever else. And I'm not even going to discredit the show by trying to like give you an example, because my singing voice is horrendous and it will like beach dolphins and set off radars. But yeah, very fun, very unique storyline, and that's on Freeform. But yeah, I really recommend that also. And so tomorrow, Thor: Love and Thunder comes out, and a friend has asked me to go with them to go see that, and so we're doing a little date night type situation to go see that. Um, hopefully, if my finances work themselves out and I don't end up getting that $30 overdraft, but I have someone who owes me $30 already, and so if everything works out the way that I'm hoping it does, I'll be able to go see the movie tomorrow. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And I heard that Disney is going to start digitally imposing Stan Lee in all of the movies like he used to do his little cameo. And I think that's absolutely freaking amazing. So, what are your weekend plans? What do you have planned to do this weekend? Um, Also, depending on how warm it is, I might try to make it out to the lake. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, might try to do that. So, anyways, guys, I have held you hostage long enough. Thank you for listening. Make sure you head over to the blog, hellocupcakeitsme.com. And if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe here. Then head on over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/hellocupcakeitsme. Hit like and subscribe and join the community over there. Follow me on all the different social medias, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in. You have been listening to Hello Cupcake, It's Me, a podcast with your host, Michael Peterson. Please make sure to check back often as new episodes are released bi-weekly. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to send a message to hellocupcakeitsme@gmail.com. And until next time, stay happy, safe, and keep doing the best you can with what you have been given.